Well, let me say something, Joe, about the last question the viewer had too about, doing a little bit of something and something else. Can you benefit from it? Okay.
Sure.
I make this comment. Most people may not realize one cigarette, the effects of one cigarette last 1 week in your body. One cigarette.
Wow.
So, when I tell patients, well, doc, I'm down to 3 cigarettes, so you got to get to zero. You got to get to zero. You got to get rid of them all because that one cigarette is going to last 1 week in your body. So you have to take on the responsibility of sort of getting rid of some things in your diet and health that's not beneficial to you. Okay?
Does that include cigars?
That includes cigars too.
Does it include those other kind of cigarettes?
E-cigarettes.
No, the cannabis cigarettes.
Oh, no.
Since we're talking about cannabis today.
Yeah. Actually, associated between cannabis and lung cancer that I'm aware of. And actually, certain things like asthma, people benefit from it tremendously. But I'll get into that pretty soon.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Great. So what I thought I'd do right now is a little stimulating talk on what I call the new kid on the block, okay? And stuff called CBD, which is cannabidiol. And I'm sure this is in the news all over. It's big news internationally. And I got to tell you, this is one of those things, like I'm going to tell you about sugar, legal, lethal. Tobacco, legal, lethal. This is one of those things that's illegal, but helpful, okay? And we got to come to grips with this pretty soon because this is one of those things that can benefit people tremendously from my readings and from what I've been hearing that we have to take advantage of.
Dr. Jones, I have to tell you that the team back here running the cameras and all of the web streaming and everything are high-fiving themselves back there. I don't have a camera to show you what they're doing, but they're all pretty excited with your comments.
Well, we have to get down to what I'm really talking about, Joe. I'm not talking about smoking real marijuana. I'm talking about CBD, okay? And you're going to find that CBD really is like a marijuana cousin, but the benefits of the thing is phenomenal. Now here's come my conspiracy thing because this really happened with this particular plant. And let's see, I think may have something here pretty soon, Joe. We got to get the little advancing thing back. There we go. Okay. So I said it's a new kid on the block, but it's been around for a long time. I mean, you can find cannabis way back in recorded history from the Chinese, the Egyptians. Go to history, you're going to find something about a cannabis-based preparation, okay? And even in America, back in the 1930s, it was probably part of every doctor had it in his black bag when he went to make house calls. Something called cannabis. There was a doctor for Queen Victoria who would make a concoction for her with this stuff in milk, helps with indigestion and things. So it's been around for a very, very long time. The problem was that it was a very healthy plant, okay? Here's my description of what I'm talking about, hemp and cannabis, or hemp and marijuana. They're cousins, like the citrus plant, the lime and the lemon. They're both citrus plants, but it's not the same. They don't taste the same. And hemp and marijuana is the same thing. Marijuana has a very high content of THC, which we're all familiar with, what it does, okay? Very little CBD. Hemp, on the other hand, has a very high concentration of CBD, but very little THC, and therein lies the difference. People think that they can look at a plant and tell you if it's hemp or marijuana. Hemp is tall, marijuana is short and bushy, or whatever. I can tell you that you cannot tell the difference unless you do a chemical analysis, see the content of the THC and the CBD. If there's a high content of THC, I don't care how short and bushy or tall that thing is, that's marijuana. If there's a high concentration of CBD, that's hemp. So you have to look at it from a chemical standpoint to really tell you which one it is. So what happened was that in the 1930s, hemp was very well accepted, but it was a very, like I said, ferocious plant. It grows very well. And it's used for a lot of different things. The Declaration of Independence, one of the drafts was written on hemp paper. Even the first flag Betsy Ross was designed was a hemp cloth flag. Sails of boats were made from hemp plants. It's ferocious. And as it got better, people looked into it for petroleum reasons. But paper was the real thing that it was being used for. Unfortunately for hemp, one of the giant titans at the time, William Randolph Hearst, who ran all of the newspapers at that time, a lot of them anyway. You still have magazines out there today with the Hearst Company. He was invested in paper too, but it wasn't in hemp, it was in trees. So this was a very big competitor to his tree business. So they had to outlaw this stuff. And you have to really read the history, but it's very interesting and sad at the same time.
Mm-hmm. More conspiracies.
It was a conspiracy, yes, exactly right. They do exist. Tell Roger, they do exist, okay?
Mm-hmm. He's
and
agreeing.
They tied him to, huh?
He's agreeing with you.
Oh, yeah, I know he's agreeing because it probably said something. Anyway, marijuana is a name given by Mexicans to this cannabis plant, the one that got you high. And they knew they were cousins. So what they did was they put up this so to speak marketing conspiracy thing in the newspapers. Well, he ran the newspaper. There was no internet. There was no TV. Very little radio. When you read it, it must be true. So they said these things causing problems with Mexican and Negroes and raping people and things like that. And the American public bought it. They tied hemp into that, made it illegal. He got rid of a problem. We didn't benefit from the medical side of hemp that could help us and can still help us today if we get the politics straight. So the cannabinoids, which are the part that we talk about, and to make this thing simple, our bodies have this system called the endocannabinoid system. We have it since birth. It was put there for us. It's not something we got implanted in us. It's been there forever, okay? We didn't know this until about the late 80s, early 1990s. But then we found out that there is something called an endocannabinoid deficiency. We can, like diabetes or whatever, lose the benefit of the cannabinoids to excite this system to do what it does best. And we're going to talk about they have CB1 receptors, CB2 receptors. Okay, the ones we make inside of our body is called endocannabinoids. In other words, it's endogenous to us. Okay, the phytocannabinoids are the ones that we consume, like the CBD from hemp. Okay, but you can find in other plants too, echinacea, flax, common tea, kava, and hops. But the main one that we're talking about right now is going to be CBD that you get from hemp. These are we call them the ligands, actually the neurotransmitters, because you have the receptors. But the thing that makes the receptors connect in the endocannabinoid system are these particular products. The ones on the left, the anandamide and the 2-AG, are endocannabinoids. These are the ones our bodies make normally. They become depleted. But the cannabidiol, again, is a phytocannabinoid, one that we can eat endogenously and benefit from. Again, it stimulates the endocannabinoid system and the like. So you have these cannabinoid extracts from the hemp plant. So when you eat the whole hemp plant, eat it, but you get the benefits from it. But we're not talking about smoking hemp, because you can smoke hemp all day, you're never going to get high. That doesn't work. Okay, but you have all the benefits from it: the terpenes, the flavonoids, the chlorophyll, as well as the CBD that you benefit from when you have the whole hemp plant in the product, and that's called the entourage effect, where you get everything out there. So again, this endocannabinoid system is a regulatory system in our bodies that's put there for us to stay self-regulated. But it has to be fueled by the cannabinoids, either endogenous cannabinoids, the endocannabinoids, or the phytocannabinoids, the ones you can take by mouth. So this is the way I kind of look at this system. It's like getting the front end alignment. Excuse me. So we should always be driving straight ahead. But unfortunately, some things that wheel flat or whatever, you go to one side or the other. And what can do that for us as people? Well, high blood pressure and stress can take us off to one side. Diabetes and pain can take us on the other side. This endocannabinoid system keeps us going in a right direction, okay? People who have had blood pressure, been on 3 medicines, I know they're taking this stuff and come off blood pressure medicines altogether. Guys I've known have post-traumatic stress can take this product and get some relief. Diabetics have come off of insulin taking this product. One of the biggest things out there right now is companies looking at a way to capitalize on CBD in its pain relief form to fight the opioid crisis. And yet our country continues to make this an illegal product in view of the millions of people who are dying from the opioid crisis. Again, you have in the cannabinoid system, CB1 neurotransmitters mainly in the brain, where they're associated at, okay? And the CB2 receptor, here's CB1 again, I'm sorry, brain, you can see these are receptors in the brain tissue that helps to keep us in a regulatory system. The CB2 receptors mainly in the gut system, and it's the immune stimulator. So it helps us from a neurologic standpoint as well as an immune standpoint, but so many other things as well. So we talked about deficiencies earlier, vitamin C deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, okay? There's also an endocannabinoid deficiency. And this is one, again, it goes unnoticed, and then subsequently untreated. When this finally becomes recognized as a mainstream deficiency syndrome, they're gonna have to allow us to treat the syndrome with the appropriate products. And I don't want to say medicine because it's not really a medicine. Here's the problem. One of my conspiracy theories again, Joe, is that because it's not able to get a patent on this, okay, it's mainly listed out as a food. You can't get a patent on an apple or orange, okay? This is a plant too. Therein lies the hang-up. If you've been watching news here recently, one of the products just got put on the market for treatment of seizures. You may have heard the story about the little girl who had the 300 seizures a month. Mm-hmm. Family gave it up for dead, had made a DNR. They moved to Colorado because they heard some news about these oils that may benefit from the little girl. So she moved over there, started taking these oils, and she woke up. Hardly had any seizures, maybe one a month now, okay? It was CBD that did that, okay? There are a plethora of these cases now out there. So there's one company just went on the market last week. I can't think of the name of the company. I think it's Epidiolex or something like that. That they're out there marketing now, but they've tied CBD to something else to make it a medicine. Okay, you don't need the medicine. You just need the regular, straightforward CBD. But again, it's not big dollars made for if you're selling plants and apples and oranges, but they still work. So again, we do have some deficiencies in this, okay? And until we, let's say, identify this as a deficiency syndrome that needs to be treated, it's not going to go forward too far. Now, again, we also know that endocannabinoid deficiency is a good cause for Alzheimer's. This is a study done in Stanford, okay? If you Google CBD anything, you're going to get a litany of literature out there on this product. It's being studied by a lot of people. A little funny thing is that the state of Mississippi doesn't allow you to use CBD, but it is the CBD capital, marijuana capital in the United States. Anybody doing research on CBD has to get their product from the University of Mississippi. So we're coming there. We're not there yet. It's going to be recognized as a very valuable product for our health. Again, the conspiracy theory. If you take somebody who's on 4 and 5 medicines, now you're only on one food product that takes care of high blood pressure, diabetes, stress, whatever, you just put a big dent in the finances of some big pharmaceutical companies. Those guys got their pockets in the FDA. So it's going to be a huge fight. I talked about the entourage effect. You see there's 500 chemical compounds native to the cannabis plant that act synergistically. And so taking the whole thing has been great. If you want to really get a good understanding about this product, you need to go to one of the, I guess, TV sites, whether it is Netflix or whatever, and find Dr. Sanjay Gupta's series on weed.
I watched it. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. It changed his mind on this product. So again, it's coming. Not to say our government is hypocritical about this. We now have this stuff federally is still illegal. But we have a patent on it. The United States government has a patent on cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants. So, somebody was smart enough to realize that, you know what, this is something that's going to become law. I don't know when, but you can go check that patent out. U.S. government patent 6,630,507, and you're going to find that patent that the United States government has on CBD, which is an illegal product called a Class 1 drug in the United States, which with the potential for this medication, this food, is absurd. Because now we're holding back treatment for people who could benefit from something that has hardly, if any, side effects as compared to other medicines that they have to take. What the CBD do was research at, like I said, epilepsy, metabolic syndrome. Now, metabolic syndrome has a direct impact on coronary heart disease, heart failure, and whatever, okay? It's there with obesity, high blood pressure. So, it's going to benefit that way. Broken bones, osteoporosis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, anti-cancer, and neuroprotection, and such as traumatic brain syndrome. If you got anything to do like NFL, like we all like on Sunday watch the games, those guys are hitting the head quite a bit. One of the things that the NFL players are trying to do now is get a permission to use marijuana as a neuroprotectant for their brains. They're getting denied. So they're going to be subject to traumatic brain injury that's not going to be treated, that could be treated, and they could not become vegetables. So the new kid on the block, like I said earlier, is not so new. Actually been around since Jesus. It's something we call Cannabis orals, or that Jesus used to cure people with. It's a hemp product, not a marijuana plant, like I said earlier. We still have some legal issues. Now, there are still 8 states right now that's making it legal. I think Vermont came on made it number 9. It's legal. The big one everybody's waiting for is Canada. June the 7th, the whole country of Canada is going to go legal for both recreational and medicinal marijuana, putting us to shame as we should be leading on that. But they're going to go completely legal June the 7th, between then and July the 1st. They should be, the whole country should be legal. So we talked about the pulse endocannabinoid system, CB1, CB2 receptors, the endocannabinoid ligands, or neurotransmitters, phytocannabinoids, the CBD, and THC is a transmitter in this too, but not as good as CBD. These are, again, how do we benefit from a cardiovascular standpoint? As I talked earlier, the main culprits of disease, to include coronary artery disease, congestive heart failure, lung cancer, or you name it, is inflammation and oxidation. This is a very powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory product. Okay, it's more powerful than vitamin C and vitamin E. You can definitely benefit from this, okay? It's been reported that high levels of this in your body will increase HDLs and lower LDLs, your cholesterol. Okay?
You're on the line, but hold on one second. Dr. Jones is just wrapping up, I think. Go ahead, Dr. Jones. We got a caller already.
Okay, good.
Please go ahead and continue.
I know from some people that I'm familiar with, they take it to lower their blood pressure. And I can tell you a quick, they lower their blood pressure. And it promotes insulin production and sugar metabolism. So this product is one that when we get to the point we realize that we have this one product that can solve a lot of our ills, to include coronary artery disease, COPD, cancer, and the like, we're going to do it. Again, my conspiracy theorist in me tells me it's going to take a while because there's a lot of money at stake. I mean, this movie I saw, Follow the Money, okay? And you can't get too much money in selling the plant. So, again, and I leave with this. I hear this one of the articles I read. Mark Twain said, a lie can travel halfway around the world but before the truth gets his boots on. So I think with this particular product, we still travel around in our bare feet. We have a long way to go, but we need to get out, support this product. It's beneficial to us. It's not addictive. And again, we're talking about hemp and CBD. We're not talking about marijuana and THC. We're talking about hemp and CBD. The medicinal benefits, that product is yet really to be tapped and us to take benefit from it from a lot of areas, whether it be cardiovascular, the nervous system, the GI system, or whatever.
Very good. I mean, that was Doc, that was excellent. Really enjoyed that. We actually have a caller now. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hi, Joe. It's Jennifer again. And good evening, Dr. Jones.
Hello.
I'm calling out of Philadelphia. And first, I got to congratulate Joe for an excellent session. This is a wonderful way to think outside the box and truly learn something that does apply to us in our field and in our lives. This talk about CBD versus THC. I'm in Southeast Pennsylvania. I live real close to Delaware. I know that we get CBD in Delaware, and my husband uses it in a tincture. He's had 2 back surgeries, in his early 20s. So he's never going to be quite right from that. And it really helps, with the inflammation and back pain and spasms and that kind of thing. I've always been leery of CBD only because it seems too good to be true. You go to different, craft fairs or any vendor, and they list it's like snake oil. It cures everything. Hangnail, take CBD. Your hair not growing right, take CBD. You blink too much, take CBD. Is it really too good to be true, or does it really work this well?
Yeah, you got to be careful about that. Now, and I'm going to say something I said earlier. I don't think you can take CBD and start eating hamburgers every day and think you're going to live a long life and not exercising. It's a lot of things playing to good health. It's not just one thing. However, with that said, make no doubt about it, CBD, the right product, does wonders. Now, snake oils, there going to be some CBD snake oils out there, no doubt about it. Matter of fact, I just read that people selling CBD doesn't even have CBD in the product. But they know it's a catchphrase right now for a lot of people, and they're looking for help. I mean, people are in trouble, they're hurting, they're in pain, arthritis, back surgery, whatever. They're looking for something, so they're taking advantage of that. I wouldn't do that. There are some reputable companies out there who have the product, it's tested, it's shown it actually have the CBD in the product. Those are the ones I would be sort of gravitating to purchase. Yeah, from a sideshow at a carnival, yeah, I wouldn't buy that CBD. That would not be the place I would get it from.
Sure.
But CBD by itself, don't trust me, go to the literature. There's a website called Project CBD, www.projectcbd. Go to that website, search anything you want. High blood pressure, diabetes, post-traumatic stress. There'll be a litany of articles in there to support this product from reputable medical schools and research facilities, So don't shy away from it because of the power that it has. Now, hangnails, it's not gonna fix a hangnail. Okay? But there are again a lot of disease processes that is benefiting from. Like now, one of the problems researching this again is that you research something that's illegal, and you don't get medical schools who get federal money wanting to do that. See, so it becomes a problem. But the benefits of this product are enormous. And I got to tell you again, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, if we ever get our politics straight, you're going to see something wonderful.
Well, I think CBD is definitely stuck in the catch-22 of they want to wait for research and proof before they approve it, but without the approval, it won't get the research and the proof. And so it just hangs in the balance. And I think you're absolutely correct. And still, until the government gets on board, and I think people have to make this change, it's going to stay stuck there. And it's going to stay stuck there because some guy who ran the paper and wanted to cut down trees, which we already know is detrimental to the environment, instead of using this plant that's easily grown, easily cultivated, and has so many uses. Until we change that, it's going to be a very slow movement. Now, in the first talk, and this is something that I could talk all day about, is, you know, nicotine, smoking, and versus vaping. You talked earlier about, you know, oxidization and using antioxidants, and how we all know how bad smoking cigarettes is for us. Is it the nicotine, or is it the lighting of a plant on fire and all the other things that go along with it?
Yeah. Well, you know, the cigarette has two parts to it, right? It has the tars and nicotine. And when I tell my patients, the tars give you cancer, the nicotine gives you heart disease. So it's both products in that plant, in that product that does. Now, you know, the other things in cigarettes too, and I wish I had a picture that I should have took a picture of that from my office. I have it for my patients that shows in cigarettes you can find arsenic, you can find formaldehyde, you can find carbon monoxide. All those are not good for you, obviously. Mm. So there's a litany of things in a cigarette that's not good. It's not one thing, it's all of it.
Now, Jennifer, are you vaping?
I did have one person.
Yes, I do. I quit smoking 3 years ago, and I did it by switching to vaping, and I've dropped my nicotine from 12 milligrams per mil to 3. It's a very low amount of nicotine itself. The ingredients in total are propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, flavoring, and then pharmaceutical grade nicotine. I keep a pretty close watch on the white papers and the research coming out, and it's another one of those things that is stuck in government, and it's trapped in money. You know, the government makes a lot of money from big tobacco due to something called the mass settlement agreement that took place, I guess, in the 80s, I want to say. And, you know, it funds, tobacco funds a lot of government projects. And if they lose that, they're screwed. And so they're trying to find a way to gain that money back. And I don't really think the government wants people to quit smoking, quite frankly. The research that I've done and that I've looked into and I keep track of has definitely said that nicotine isn't nearly as dangerous. It's addictive. Nicotine is absolutely addictive. So is caffeine. But, you know, when you go to Starbucks, there is not a giant sign on the side of your latte that says, this product contains caffeine, a highly addictive chemical. But mine does. I was just at a Sheetz, basically a big gas station, the other day, and they had a couple of advertisements for some of the ENDS devices, some of the e-cigarette devices. And I think a good quarter of the advertisement was this warning, saying that, you know, this contains nicotine, a highly addictive chemical. And just a few feet away is an advertisement for cigarettes. And the Surgeon General warning was this teeny tiny little fine print on the bottom that you couldn't see from where I was sitting, but I could obviously see this giant nicotine warning. And it's just, it's stuck, it's backwards, and it needs to be fixed.
I agree. Now, I'm going to say something about the vaping. You know, the vaping thing came out with e-cigarettes to hopefully offset the tars in the cigarette. But the nicotine, the way I saw it, was used. It should have been used, or should be used as a way to wean yourself off of cigarettes altogether. While nicotine may not be as bad as you think, it's bad. You know, and it's going to cause some problems. It's going to oxidative problems, inflammation problems. It's going to cause some problems. It could be COPD or whatever. You're going to have some problems. So the best thing, use that product as a way to wean yourself off of nicotine and tobacco products altogether, not as a step down, a step completely away from it, so you don't have it in your system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, because I've been off cigarettes completely for 3 years. No combustibles whatsoever. And like I said, I've dropped my nicotine level greatly, because you mentioned that you're addicted is what it is. You are, and you're not just addicted to nicotine. There's a ritual. Anybody who has a habit like this will tell you there's a ritual of purchasing the cigarettes, of how you pack them, how you open them, when you light them on your drive to work. There's an entire ritual, a hand to mouth that you have to break, and it's very difficult. And patches and gum and medications with side effects don't replace that.
Yeah. And you're absolutely correct about that. You know, one of the things that people don't realize, one of the reasons they put menthol in cigarettes, because they wanted to make it more tolerant for women. So menthol cigarettes really put that for ladies to get addicted, and it certainly got them addicted.
So Roger, did you have any questions? Okay, so Dr. Jones, let me ask you this if I can. Is THC beneficial? So you talked about hemp, you talked about marijuana, that we're talking about hemp and high concentration of cannabinoid versus marijuana, high concentration of THC. But is there benefit to the THC and marijuana, maybe not in the same way, but in a different way?
Yes, the answer to the question is yes. And the way it comes, nausea, vomiting with chemotherapy, the THC is official in that. Okay.
Hold on, your connection is going down. Try that. Say that again, Doc. Your connection was weak.
I was saying yes to the answer. Does THC have some medical benefits? Yes, mainly with like nausea and vomiting with chemotherapy, as well as, and this is still being researched. Okay. High doses in people who have cancer. Okay? People who have cancer. So in those two instances, yes, it does have some benefit.
So do the cannabinoids have enough THC? Does the hemp have enough THC in it to make it illegal for for people to drive, for people to go to work? Are you going to test positive for THC?
You know what? That's interesting. That just came like these last few days, Joe. It turns out that most municipalities, or state or federal, drug testing for THC really encompasses a cannabis check. So what happens is that you say you take CBD, okay, and you take the urine test. It's going to test positive for cannabis, and now you're in a quandary. But it's not really THC. So you have to request, check me for THC, okay? Check you with THC if you take in pure CBD, and you can take pure CBD that does not have any THC in it, okay? Or you should be negative for THC, and that's the thing. Unfortunately, still in some areas, CBD is still classified as a Class 1 substance in the Controlled Substance Act, and you're still in trouble. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, the DA in one county in Florida says he's going to be raiding stores that's selling CBD. So you have to be careful about this. We have a lot of legal things to overcome. I guess, fortunately, here in Louisiana, we just had our two large universities, Southern University and LSU systems, given the permission to start growing marijuana to use in dispensaries around the state. However, only for those patients who have a certain number of diseases for which it can be beneficial, as well as getting it prescribed by a doctor of the state who has a certificate for prescribing marijuana. So it's still going to be somewhat restricted. It's going to be restricted, but it's on the way. That's a move forward. But we got a long way to go.
Roger, come over here, Roger. I mean, you're in the studio, so you may as well come over here. That's good.
All right, I'll go right next to you.
Stand right here beside me.
All right. Dr. Jones, I have a question for you. Is there a difference between smoking marijuana? I'm sure there is, between smoking marijuana and actually making like using it in food or making things like that? He's
a brownie eater, Doc. He eats brownies.
Yeah.
He's an artist.
You get a serum concentration of THC up to a certain level, you got the same effects you get when you smoke it as when you eat it. And it's still a THC. So the answer to that question is really, probably in the long run, no big difference between the two. It's an avenue of getting to your body.
I mean, more towards like I'm sure smoking it, obviously you're smoking and smoking is like a lot worse for you. So
the lung complications that can occur from smoking the marijuana versus eating it. So, he wants to get high. So is he going to get high without the negative effects on the lungs if he eats it versus smokes it?
Yeah, well, again, now we're not promoting THC as a recreational thing. We talk about the beneficial medical side of it. Again, my understanding, and again, I've been mainly with CBD, is that the avenue in which you get THC in your body really doesn't make much difference. You might have a quick onset if you're smoking it, I don't know. But you're going to still get a buzz from eating it too, whether it be brownies or edibles or whatever. Again, but I got to tell you again, be very careful that these things aren't really regulated yet. You're going to get all kind of funguses and stuff in those things as you look at edibles. So make sure you're getting a reputable place you get those things from. And then obviously it's legal that you're doing.
He's probably growing it and making it himself. But you're not answering the question though, do you have the same negative effects to your lungs, COPD, emphysema, so forth, from smoking it versus eating it?
Well, they don't have tars of nicotine. So you're not getting tars of nicotine. The real culprits in the tobacco plant, okay? So you're not going to get that. I'll tell you a story I heard the other day. There's a lady who had asthma who was on 3 medicines, and the doctor wanted to put on a 4th medicine. And she heard about vaping CBD. You can vape CBD. She started vaping CBD. She's off all her medicines. She never was breathing better in a long time.
Wow.
So we were vaping CBD, okay? And that can be done too. It's not THC, it's CBD.
Right.
So, that plant is different.
Mm-hmm. So Jennifer, you were trying to add something.
Thank you very much,
this?
Doctor.
Well, I'm really glad that question got asked because that's what it's, a lot of the terminology and the information you get when you try to do research, because it can be difficult because a lot of it's tainted or swayed one way or the other, is the idea. It's like, okay, smoking is bad, and it's the nicotine, and which I don't agree with. As it's the tar, obviously, and it's the act of.
Jennifer, you can't simply disagree with it because it doesn't fit your narrative. You can't do that, okay?
Did you not just disagree with Dr. Badia last night?
That's different. That's different. I disagree with everything. I disagree with everything he says, but that's because I have to. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will definitely keep up on the research on it, but for the moment, my jury is out. Let's say that.
All right, fair enough.
But the idea that, pot never kills anybody. Nobody's ever died from an overdose of THC or from smoking pot. And it's always amazing to me that, obviously, igniting a marijuana plant has been around for a very long time, and that they don't have emphysema and they don't have COPD and they don't have lung cancer from that. It has always sort of amazed me. So I was glad to hear, him speak on that. Vaping CBD can happen. It's hard to get. And also to the point of testing positive, Dr. Jones is obviously very correct about testing positive for cannabis, and they don't differentiate between the two. But it's also going to depend on, again, getting a qualified supplier for CBD to make sure that it's pure enough that it should be, I think it's like less than 3% or something like that THC in it. It's a very, very negligible amount of THC in it, not enough to obviously get you high and not long enough to stay in your system to test positive for it.
Yeah, it's less than 0.3%.
0.3.
0.3. I knew there was a 3 in there.
0.3. Yeah. So that's pretty low. That's very, very low.
Yeah, I was only off by 100th.
That's all right. No problem. Hey, look, PO2 is 30, PO2 is 100. What's the difference?
Yeah, but as long as you're statting 100, it doesn't really matter.
That's right.
But still, that 0.3 can still test positive. That's
right.
What people.
And that's the big problem.
If you read the Controlled Substances Act, it's supposed to be legal if you get the CBD from the stalk of a mature plant and the THC level is less than 0.3%. That's supposed to be legal.
Okay.
But most law enforcement don't know the law. And then you got to defend yourself. You guilty until proven innocent.
That's right. That is right. We say otherwise, but that's not really true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, listen.
Not in practice.
Jennifer, listen, thank you so much. Dr. Jones, I want to thank you very much. Lively conversation. And I can see you're probably getting called by the hospital, having to run back there. You're just down the street from it. And so in deference to your busy schedule, I just want to, on behalf of everybody that was watching this evening and will watch the program later as well, I want to thank you for taking your very limited time to come talk to us about this very important topic.
Well, thank you, Joe. And I just want to leave one last statement, too, is that we have to take these matters into our own hand with your help. You just can't depend on somebody to lead you down the primrose path the way you're going to be healthy, whether it be exercising, whether it be choosing the right things at the grocery store, whether it be supporting legislation on CBD. We have to take things into our own hands because it's your health that's at risk. And if you want to know how you can't buy health, and it's better to stay healthy than to get sick and healthy again.
Uh-oh, something just happened. Oh, you're there. You are. Yep. So basically, I think what you're saying, Dr. Jones, is that it's personal conduct, it's personal responsibility, and we have to take care of ourselves, whether it's diet, whether it's exercise, lifestyle, whatever the situation may be. We have to start being more personally responsible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Jennifer closed out with a quick comment to you that said after this, she's going to quit her job, herd sheep, grow hemp, and take quality vitamins. So you certainly impacted somebody's life directly tonight. That's for sure.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you, Doc. Take care of yourself. Be safe. And once again,